Hello everybody. Today we will be talking about Article 10, that is amendments of UCP 600. So let's move on to point A. Except as otherwise provided by Article 38, a credit can neither be amended nor cancelled without the agreement of the issuing bank, the conforming bank if any, and the beneficiary. Okay, so let's skip Article 38 for now. Okay, we will discuss that later on. So what it means is like, with the agreement of the issuing bank, conforming bank, and the beneficiary only, a credit can be amended or cancelled. Okay, now let's move on to B. A bank utilizing the services of an advising bank or second advising bank to advise a credit must use the same bank to advise any amendment thereto. So we discussed this point in Article 9 D as well. Okay, if the issuing bank issues a letter of credit to the advising bank, like Standard Chartered Bank Singapore, then the amendment of the same letter of credit must be issued to the advising bank, that is Standard Chartered Bank Singapore. Okay, so let's move on to C. The issuing bank is irrevocably bound by an amendment as of the time it issues the amendment. A conforming bank may extend its confirmation to an amendment and will be irrevocably bound as of the time it advises the amendment. Okay, so here irrevocably bound means the issuing bank cannot take back its undertaking, okay, of the amendment that it has issued to the advising bank. Similarly, the conforming bank also, if it has extended its confirmation to an amendment, then the conforming bank is also irrevocably bound as of the time it advises the amendment to the beneficiary. Now let's read the last point of last paragraph of C. That is, a conforming bank may, however, choose to advise an amendment without extending its confirmation, and if so, it must inform the issuing bank without delay and inform the beneficiary in its advice. So here a conforming bank has two options: either it can add its confirmation of the amendment, or it can advise the amendment to the beneficiary without extending its confirmation. Okay, and that message should be relayed to the beneficiary and to the issuing bank as well. Now let's move on to D. The terms and conditions of the original credit means, or a credit incorporating previously accepted amendments, will remain in force for the beneficiary until the beneficiary communicates its acceptance of the amendment to the bank that advises such amendment. The beneficiary should give notification of acceptance or rejection of an amendment. Okay, so here what it means is that the beneficiary should give acceptance, okay, or rejection of the amendment that it has received from the advising bank. Okay, if it hasn't given its acceptance or rejections of the amendment that it has received, then it will not be effective. Okay, so the beneficiary should give notification of acceptance or rejection of an amendment to the advising bank. Okay, if the beneficiary fails to give such notification, a presentation that conforms to the credit and to any not yet accepted amendment will be deemed to be notification of acceptance by the beneficiary of such amendment. As of that moment, the credit will be amended. Okay, so here what it means is that if the beneficiary fails to give acceptance or rejection notice to the advising bank, and later on if the beneficiary presents the document like to the nominated bank, and when the nominated bank checks the document, okay, so what happens is if the document presented are as per the terms and conditions of the LC and the amendment, then the nominated bank will presume that the beneficiary has accepted the amendments. or if the documents are not presented as per the amendment, then the nominated bank will presume that the amendment has not been accepted by the beneficiary. Okay, so now let's move on to E. A bank that advises an amendment must inform the bank from which it received the amendment of any notification of acceptance or rejection that has been received prior to or at the time of presentation. So here the advising bank must inform to the issuing bank regarding the acceptance or rejection of the amendment that it has received. Okay, and this message should be sent to the issuing bank prior to or at the time of presentation of the document. Okay, so let's move on to F. Partial acceptance of an amendment is not allowed and will be deemed to be a rejection of the amendment, and the bank that advised the amendment must so inform the bank from which it received the amendment. So partial acceptance of an amendment is not allowed. Okay, so if the beneficiary says like out of the 5 amendment that has been done, I will accept only 2 amendments and I won't be accepting 3 amendment, so that is not allowed. Okay, so the beneficiary must accept all the amendment that has been done. Okay, if the beneficiary accepts like only partial amendment like point number 1 and 2 out of 5, then that will be regarded as rejection of the amendment by the beneficiary. Okay, so the same information should be informed to the issuing bank by the advising bank regarding the rejection of an amendment. So let's move on to Z. If a time limit for the acceptance or rejection of an amendment is contained in the amendment or advice of amendment, the time limit shall be deemed to be not stated and disregarded. Okay, like if the issuing bank issues an amendment to the advising bank, and in an amendment if the issuing bank mentions the time limit like uh, please take consent from the beneficiary regarding the acceptance of the amendment within 5 days from the time of the issuance of the amendment. If it is if the time limit is mentioned like that, then it will be deemed not to be stated and it will be disregarded. Okay, similarly if the advising bank advises in its advising letter, if it mentions like please send your acceptance or rejection of the amendment within 5 days, and this time limit also should be disregarded by the beneficiary. Okay, so that is all about this article 10. Hope you like this video. If you do have any comment, please let me know. Thank you.